Hello, I'm Basilisa Alonso. Welcome to the Bronx Journal. Remember Chuck D of the group Public Enemy? He once said, "Hip-hop is an informational tool. The CNN of the streets" is what he called it. Nevertheless, in spite of its glorification of gangs, drug use, materialism, and misogyny, there is a group trying to reclaim hip-hop as an informational tool. They are known as Rebel Diaz, self-proclaimed street reporters, and they are joining us today to talk about their music, activism, and the Rebel Diaz art collective. RodStarz, DJ Illanoiz, welcome to the show.
Good night to have. Thanks for having us. We appreciate that.
Thank you. So, Rebel Diaz, how did you guys come up with that name?
Oh man, we get asked that all the time. So, when you put the word rebel and Diaz together in Spanish, it makes up the word Rebel Diaz, which is rebellion. You know what I'm saying? And we're a bilingual hip hop group. We rap in English and Spanish. So we wanted a name that could be, you know, Rebel Diaz in Espanol and Rebel Diaz in English. It sounds pretty much similar.
Pretty much interchangeable.
And then, but more than anything, you know what I'm saying, we wanted it to be like mysterious. Is it one person? Is it a whole crew? You know what I mean? So that's kind of how we came up with Rebel Diaz, you know?
Right.
So
your name is RodStarz, DJ Illanoiz. How did you guys come up with those names?
Oh, my name, back in 99, 2000, I used to be a beatboxer. But I went by my name. My name is Julio. But my friends like, man, I moved to Alabama. They're like, man, you got mad Illinois. You're from Illinois. It was a joke. But then after that, they started calling me Illanoiz, which that's the name stuck to me.
You know what I mean? And then I couldn't even get, man, RodStarz. I was just on some b-boy, and that was just my b-boy name. I was in a crew called RodStarz. So then like it was like, oh, that's RodStarz. So it wasn't really by choice, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I try to come up with other rap names, and I'd be like, yeah, whatever,
It's way better when they give it to you. When you're given that name, and it just sticks with you.
So those were your baptism names.
Yes, there you go, baptism.
So you guys are originally from Chicago.
Yes.
How did you guys end up in the Bronx?
Man, we ended up in the Bronx. My brother G1, who's, you know, he got a scholarship to NYU, so he ended up coming out here. And truth be told, we have an uncle named Victor Toro who does organizing in the Bronx with this group called La Peña del Bronx. So he was, you know, family, but then it came down to financial issues. Like, yo, this is the cheapest place to live, what we could afford. So we've been in Hunts Point. I've been in Hunts Point, you know what I'm saying, and in the Longwood area for about the last 9 years. You know what I'm saying? But more than anything, it was also, the Bronx is the mecca of hip hop. So I was like, man, cheap rent, the Bronx, I'm there, let's get it.
And with me, I joined the group about 2 years ago. I've known Rod since our childhood. And off and on, they'd go back to Chicago, and I would DJ like shows with them, you know what I'm saying? And the chemistry was so good that I just became part of the group. It was just natural, which is probably the best way to go, you know, when it's naturally.
Right. So going back to what Chuck D said, that hip-hop is the CNN of the streets, how true do you believe that statement to be?
I think very much the moment when he was talking about that, I think that was true. You know what I'm saying? There was artists like a Public Enemy, like a NWA, like a X-Clan, KRS-One, that were talking about what was really going on in our communities, the conditions of our communities, you know what I mean? Like songs like The Message, you know what I mean, where Melly Mel was describing the hood and describing the projects. And I think that was very, very relevant. I think that now, you know, you were talking about earlier about misogyny and violence, and you know, we want to make a distinct separation, you know what I'm saying, between hip-hop culture and the corporate-driven rap music industry, which isn't really being a CNN to the streets right now. You know what I'm saying? I feel like now they're imposing values, you know what I'm saying, on our community that are not from our community. These are values of capitalism, like misogyny, you know what I'm saying, violence, you know. So I think that we have to understand that when Chuck D's talking about CNN to the streets, he was talking about a moment. And I think that even now, while we don't have mainstream artists being the CNN to the streets, there's artists like Rebel Diaz, like a Dead Prez, you know what I'm saying, like a Jaziri X, like a YC the Cynic, that are telling the stories of our communities.
And what stories are those?
I think they're stories of struggle, stories of celebration, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, stories of pain, you know what I mean? When you deal with police brutality, with lack of access to, you know, dignified life, whether it's poor, you know, bad education, you know what I'm saying, with, you know, schools not being funded in our community, whether it's stop and frisk, like it's an after-school activity for our young people, you know what I'm saying? So I think that those stories are important to tell also, you know what I'm saying? I think that, like, a lot of times we criticize hip-hop, and I think that we have to also put it into a historical context, you know what I'm saying? Like, the idea of toasting to the good life isn't something that's new. That's been, you know, hip-hop is a progression of different forms of black music, you know what I'm saying? And the idea of toasting to the good life is not something that's new. You know, whether it was in the blues or in jazz, the idea of toasting to the good life has been around. But the problem now is that it's not about toasting to the good life from the perspective of a working man or of a, you know what I'm saying, of a poor man. It has become consumption to the fullest, you know what I'm saying, materialism and individualism to the fullest, to the point that, you know, young people that are coming up today, you know what I'm saying, have a lesser sense of self-value if they can't reach this type of consumption that these, you know, rap music artists are talking about. So I feel like, you know, breaking it down like that, I definitely feel that, you know what I'm saying?
Right. So activism has always been a big part of your life, and it has come through your family as well. Can you just tell us a little bit of your family background with activism?
Yeah, definitely. Well, my family is originally from Chile, you know what I'm saying, in South America. The first September 11, 1973. So for us, it was just really important because we grew up with a foundation of resistance. My parents were political prisoners, you know what I'm saying? The Allende government was overthrown by CIA-funded military dictatorship. So we grew up as exiles. I was born in England, you know what I'm saying? Like refugee children, born in England, raised in Chicago, you know what I'm saying? So I think that we grew up under the table of political means, you know what I'm saying? And that has given us a more international perspective on struggle, you know what I'm saying? Like, we fight the same way we grew up, you know, in movements for Nicaragua, Guatemala, El Salvador, South Africa, you know what I'm saying? So I think that we grew up with a more global view of a people's struggle, you know what I'm saying? And I think that that's reflected in the music that we make today, mixed up with our own personal experiences.
Right. So to both of you guys, what do you hope to accomplish through hip-hop today?
I feel like we're doing that, you know what I'm saying? We're definitely working towards that. And what we're doing is using hip-hop, you know what I'm saying, as music of resistance, as a music and lyrics that tell the story of our communities. And at the same time, we're working as messengers for social movements, you know what I'm saying? We just did a song that DJ Illanoiz produced about the Chicago teachers. We grew up, you know what I'm saying, being Chicago public school students. So we wanted to address that issue, which was on a national level. You know what I mean? We put out a song called Revolution Has Come, addressing, you know what I mean, the two-party system and how both of them are driven by corporations, you know what I mean? And I think that for us, we assume that role, you know what I mean, within hip-hop. And also we organize our community with hip-hop, you know what I'm saying? We always believe that hip-hop is organically a culture that's about organizing and bringing people together. You got b-boy crews, graffiti crews, MCs, the idea of a cipher, you know what I mean? It's community-based. So I think that we practice in that, and it's a great thing because we're able to practice the culture in its birthplace in the Bronx, you know what I'm saying? So for us, it's important. We've been able to bring in young people through the Rebel Diaz Arts Collective, you know what I'm saying? Like mixing politics and hip hop together. We took over a building 4 years ago, an abandoned candy factory, and turned it into a hip hop center for the people. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's power in that. A lot of times, you know what I'm saying, nonprofits and, you know, other movements have a messiah complex. We're gonna go save poor people. We're gonna save people in the hood and empower them. And our stance is like, we already here. We already have power within our community. So let's just get the community together and you know what I'm saying, and make things happen. We have a project. You know, one of our things that we say at the center is, you can't just oppose, you gotta propose. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool that you know, well, there ain't no after school programs. Well, then take over a building and make a community center. You know what I'm saying? Like the same way the Panthers needed a stoplight, they wasn't gonna wait around for the councilman or for the police to put it, they put it up themselves. You know what I mean? There's power in the hood. We just got to act on it.
Right.
You know?
So, DJ Illanoiz, can you talk to us a little bit about the Rebel Diaz Arts Collective?
Sure. The Rebel Diaz Arts Collective is a collective of kids from the neighborhood, obviously. It opened up about 4 years ago. I'm the newer member of the Arts Collective, which when I came in, I was overwhelmed because there's a lot of talent, and then there's a lot of, like you said, there's a lot of power within the community. We were talking about the other day, we have Rod had a friend that lived in the neighborhood. I guess you would say he was like a local little drinker, you know what I'm saying? Like he was always like, you know, around the neighborhood drinking. Everybody's like, oh, hey, what's up, how you doing? Just whatever. And he was asking Rod, you know, I heard you guys are doing something. And we were like, oh yeah, we're good, we're good. It comes to find out that the guy that he's actually an electrician that's just hard, you know, down on his times actually. And he came in and did the other electricity work in the collective, which is, you know, a real positive thing. So we're saying there's value in everybody in the neighborhood.
So it's a community affair.
It's a community.
What's
yes.
the age group that you guys are geared towards?
Ooh, it's
I would say the
ranges,
average age, probably about between 22 and 23, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And these are younger people that started working with us 4 years ago at 16, 17, some of them are now 21, 22, you know what I mean? So like, that's about our average age, but we have 25 members, you know what I'm saying? So we have younger ones, 17, 14, you know? But I think about the average age is that. And I think there's a reason for that too, is that a lot of times nonprofits, their work ends when that kid turns 18. And we believe that as young people, there's still a developmental stage from 21 to 25 that's still important, you know what I'm saying?
Why does it end at 18?
Because of funding, you know what I mean? Because of foundations, because of guidelines of how that, you know what I mean, what their funding is for. You know, so the same way, sometimes we ask ourselves, why do they close at 5 p.m. or at 7? Does that mean that after 7 p.m. kids don't have a place to, you know, they don't have a place to go? So for us, even in putting up that space was the idea like to provide a space, a safe space. You know what I mean? I mean, we look at the violence. There's been mad violence in the Bronx lately. You know what I'm saying? And how do we keep kids off the street? We got to start with basic things. You know what I'm saying? Providing a space, providing an alternative to what they're being bombarded with. You know what I mean? Our young people are bombarded by mainstream culture. And sadly, a lot of times the messages that they're bombarded with, you know what I mean, aren't positive to their upliftment or to their self-esteem as young people. So when you put a young man, why is hip-hop so powerful? You put a young man on a stage with a microphone, you know what I mean, and you have him perform, and there's self-value in there. Like, yo, I just got up and rocked. You know what I'm saying? So, and even when you talk about social movements, it takes a little self-dignity to stand up to such a beast like the system that we face with. So you gotta have a little self-worth to be like, yo, this is wrong. You know what I mean? So I think that that's really the purpose of the space: build community through the arts and through hip hop.
DJ Illanoiz, if anybody wants to get involved, contact you guys, what is your website, your telephone number? Can you give us that information?
www.rdacbx.org. Or they can also contact Rebel Diaz at www.rebeldiaz.com.
Thank you guys for being on the show. And after we come back from break, you guys are going to perform for us, correct?
Yes, right. Definitely.
Great. So when we come back, Rebel Diaz is going to perform for us.
When I have an asthma attack, I feel scared. Sometimes my parents have to take me to the hospital. I feel like a fish with no water.
You know how to react to their asthma attacks. Here's how to prevent them. Call 1-866-NO-ATTACKS. Visit www.noattacks.org or call your doctor. Because even one attack is one too many.
I promised I would rap like a superstar rap. Spit like a monster, put myself on the map. First rap in English, then rap in Spanish. Que lo que tú dices, boy, I cause damage. International, worldwide resistance in my lyrics. Walking down these main streets to the house of spirits. Yo represento lo que canto mis canciones. Amor, justicia, hip hop, revoluciones. Listen here, we done preaching to the choir. We stayed on the block, took the neighborhood higher. I guess I just listened to the little voice speaking. The one that said, never deny what you seeking. It made me a believer, que todo es posible. Mi flow como la lucha, siempre sigue. They call it ADD when you're wildin' and don't listen. They make you think you're crazy when you question their system. Crazy, cause I look different than you. Spark V out the corner of your peripheral. Crazy, like I'm the violent one. Living in the empire that was born at the gun. Now that's crazy, what I'm supposed to do when they shut the stores down and there ain't no food. Now that's crazy, like I'm the violent one. Living in the empire that was born at the gun. Crazy. Yeah.
RodStarz, what a great performance. We'll be back with more of the Bronx Journal.